Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So in this reading, I'm getting the energy of a promissory note. The promissory note is a contract between a borrower and a lender. Now, only the borrower, whoever receives this, is the one who signs it. And the note essentially says that I'm going to give you this amount of money. You are going to make payments on this money, and you're also going to make payments that are accruing interest. So the amount of time that you have it, it's also gaining interest. So you pay back what you took, but you're also going to pay back more. Now, there are promissory notes that are secured, which means if you don't make those payments and if you default on the loan entirely, in lieu of the money, I can take a collateral. I can take something else. The reading starts with a woman who is in a position of power. She is coming out as a sacred king. At some point, there was a mature woman who made an oath. But the oath that she made, it was an oath that was selfish. It was not an oath that was honorable. The reason why this woman is at the forefront of this reading is really because of the position that she plays in the family. She's coming out as a matriarch, and I know that because she's attached to the energy of 6. And numerology, 6 is the most loving number. It is attached to the nurturer. When we think about a nurturer, we think about motherhood, somebody who is loyal, responsible. They live with harmony. They're appreciative. A lot of times, the most loving or the nurturing people are those that are going to self-sacrifice, right? They're just so generous that sometimes they struggle with self-deprecation. Now, this is a mature woman who jumped into the energy of generosity, but she jumped into it with a greedy heart. And so she's remembering that she was responsible for a secured promissory note. The secured promissory note is coming in the form of a chosen child, a light being, or a divine one. When a family on earth receives a chosen child, they have essentially received a piece of God's heart. Every chosen child is coming with a certain light, a divine light that has the ability to heal, to correct. It has the ability to repair. And so imagine that chosen, y'all are really like heart surgeons. You are coming here and you're all a piece of God's heart, and you're coming here to fix the heart of humanity. And in order to fix the heart of humanity, you have to do it piece by piece, bite by bite. So you are a piece of God's heart, and the family that you are put in is the piece of humanity's heart that you are meant to heal. And so when you were put into the care of this mature woman had an option. She had an oath. She could use you, develop you, grow you. Now, here's the thing about the promissory note, right? When a dark or a broken group or family or community receives a chosen child, they are not supposed to be sending Cash App payments on the first of the month to the Most High. No. That is not how they return or repay the loan. They repay the loan energetically, meaning love, care, attention, nurturing, the gentle touch, the gentle talking, the eye-to-eye contact, the consistency in meeting the basic needs of the child, right? The Most High is, listen, you have this flower. Nobody knows what flower the chosen child is going to bloom into. The type of flower the child blooms into determines the gifts, the talents, and the abilities that the child possesses. But in order to really see what this child can bloom into, whoever receives them, they need to be fertile soil, meaning you have to offer a quality of life that allows this seed to become this flower. Now, when sometimes certain groups receive you and they recognize that you possess this energy, a lot of times they don't want to give you that energy back. Now, if they would have just given you the energy that the loan required, you would have bloomed and blossomed. Your talent would have grown, and not only would it have grown, it would have poured and shed over them, meaning they would have benefit. Every time they made an energetic payment towards you, they were really securing their future, meaning whatever you bloom into, you would have just showered that back down on them. But that's not what happens in this reading. In this reading, the mature woman that is sitting on a throne that has a choice to make, She either could have gone left or right. This is a mature woman that took the path that was away from the Most High. This was a woman that said, I'm not making these payments. I'm just going to default on this loan. Everybody defaults on the loan. Everybody skips the payments because they're only thinking about the satisfaction of today. They're not able to think long term about the impacts. Well, when the Most High comes back, what is the collateral that I'm going to have to give up? That's a conversation that nobody had in the past, but that is the conversation that everybody is having right now. The mature woman gets the child, and this is what they decide. All of the energy that that child would have needed to grow, instead of taking that, instead of giving that to the child, we are going to withhold it. We are going to withhold our payments, and we are just going to withdraw. We are going to withdraw. We are going to just take the promise out of the child. We will just use the promise for ourselves. We don't want to have to pour into this child year after year after year, month after month, week after week, in order to see the long-term value. And so these people received a child of promise and immediately contracted themselves to be the type of people that don't make payments, the type of people that default on loans. And so I literally see a community. This mature woman is attached to a community. She didn't move by herself, but the way she moved was she was in a position of power. So she is the type of person that could say yes or could say no. And so what this woman said yes to is that this child would be stolen from. This child would be stolen from by way of a professional. So I see here that they got somebody that was supposed to know what they were doing. They got a professional to steal whatever it was that they felt that this chosen child came up with. Now, this is a form of a sacrifice, right? Y'all, can I just say, this reading is really hard for me. It's hard for me because some of them just hit home. And when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I do a reading in the morning. Sometimes I do them in the night, and then I just kind of save them to be posted in the morning. And I normally sit and I do like instrumental prayer and worship. And, then I kind of pray, and then I ask, what is the message that I can give to us? What is the message that we need today? And y'all, this message, I'm living in this message. Like my life right now, day to day, I am living in this message. And so never before has the message for the collective been the exact moment that I've been standing in my own life. And so when I'm reading this to you, I am also telling you what is happening real time. But the thing is that I didn't know that this would be the message that I would be telling you today. And so I'm telling you a real time message, but it is my message at the same time. And so it's a little hard to get it out because it is so true and it is so real. It is so true and it is so real. And so when I read these characters and I see these energies, I can absolutely place them as real people in my life. People that to this day I see every day. I walk past them every day. So yeah. It's real time for me. And so I have struggled. This is not my first time trying to record this, but I just want to say that to you. Okay. All right. So a professional thief was hired, and it looks like they were hired to sacrifice the child, meaning they didn't want to make the payments. They just wanted to take the promise out of the note. Okay. But the words written on the note, meaning whatever the Most High required of them, that is the part that they just totally blew past. And so in this reading, the community is recognizing that whatever choice they made, they need to sacrifice, meaning they need to abandon. They need to cut down their old ways. They need to step away. Why do I know that this community has reached the end? I have the energy of 9, but I also have an Ace of Swords. When the Ace of Swords comes out, y'all, this is essentially when the God turns on the light. Imagine a room where people have adjusted to darkness, and they've been living in this room for decades after decade, generation after generation. When I see the Ace of Swords, I essentially see that the Most High has turned on a light. And anything that you couldn't see, anything that you couldn't sense, anything that you couldn't feel, anything that you didn't know, now you know because the light's on and you can see. And so the Ace of Swords is like a breakthrough moment. It is a moment when the truth is revealed. And so the truth that is being revealed right now is that, one, we're at an ending. We have the energy of 9. Y'all, we are in a 9-year collectively. And so the Ace of Swords is coming out with 9. Now, 9 is the most humanitarian number in numerology. 9 is attached to the letters, I and R. I'm sorry. I just had a whole brain thing. I and R. So if you have I's and R's in any of your names, that represents the number of 9. This is the number of completion, endings, accomplishment, transition, understanding, and service. Now, for 9 to be the most humanitarian energy, remember, numbers have positive and negative, right? And so you are battling being giving versus being selfish. And so this mature woman was attached to a community that was very selfish, so selfish that they came up with an actual plan, an actual plot to steal the promise from the note. And they used a professional to take the promise from the note. Right? And so here right now, the Most High has just turned on the lights. And everybody that was a part of this theft, everybody that was attached to this promissory note, everybody that understood the required payments, that decided we'll just default and we'll just take the promise from it. We'll just take it all. Everybody that decided that right now is standing in an energetic room where the Most High has just turned the lights on. The Most High is giving us an Ace of Swords and a number 9. So that means 9, this is over, but the Ace, we're only just beginning. So everything that you have done in the dark is what is ending. That is what has just been completed. The selfishness. We're done. And so this community right now is attempting to understand how to be flexible. How do we adapt? Now they're learning how to compromise. Now they're learning how to be versatile and change, because this is a community that has always taken promises from notes. They've always done that. They've never made payments. They've always defaulted. When I'm saying always, I'm talking about energetically. So I don't know if this is a community that literally looks for light and they just decide we'll extract the light. Nonetheless, the lights are on. And the lights are on, and whoever this thief is, this professional that was supposed to do this, somebody was considered an expert, y'all. So this is a community that has been doing this for a while. Like they are good at what they do, even if what they do is not good. Okay, but the lights are on now, y'all. When the lights are on, not only is everybody able to see the robbery attempt, right? The attempt to steal the promise or the sacrifice of the child, but they're also recognized that whatever this robbery was, it was unsuccessful. And so they were supposed to leave the child of promise homeless. They were supposed to take the power. So the same power that a note, listen, when you get a loan, now you have the power to take control of your life. You have the power to take control of your finances. You can take control of your career, right? So a loan is essentially power, and it's borrowed power, but it can change your life if you allow it to, if you are responsible, if you make the payments, if you don't spend it all at once kind of thing. And so essentially they receive the energy of who is coming out as a main female. So you can be main female. I told you this reading is like looking and feeling like me to me right now in my life. And so it's talking about the power of this main female. That is what they wanted to take. That was the promise that they wanted to extract. And whoever the thief was, whoever the professional was, failed. It was supposed to leave the female without power, But y'all, if I'm telling you this is feeling like my reading, if I'm still talking to you, then I still essentially have my power. Okay? Now, at some point in my life, the Most High turned the lights on and showed me who everybody was and what everybody was doing. Now, when the lights came on for me, it doesn't mean that everybody else knew that they came on for me. It was almost delayed for them. And so, you know how sometimes you turn on lights? Like, think about in a gymnasium or a really big building, you turn on the lights and there's a delay. Like, you can hear like a buzzing, like the lights have come on. But it may take about a good 15, 20 minutes for the entire room to light up and to really reflect the fact that somebody turned a switch, you know? And so that is the energy I'm getting. When the Most High dropped the Ace of Sword, when the lights came on about the plan, the sacrifice, the theft, the thievery, the first person that knew that the lights were on was the child of promise. And maybe you could hear that buzz or you could just see a shift. But it seems like there was a period of delay. There was a period of delay where nobody knew what the child of promise knew. Now, the main female is coming out with the color red, meaning she's coming out as being attached to the base or the root chakra. So this is a leader. This is a hard worker. This is somebody that will survive if you make them survive. This is somebody strong. This is somebody that may have a temper, somebody full of passion and vitality. That is what the color red represents. And that is the card that comes out to describe the power of this main female. So when we're talking about like a seed or planting a seed, the base, the root chakra, this is where it all begins, right? Our families are essentially the fertile soil, or they are the soil. We love them to be fertile. Nonetheless, to be a divine being, you can eat even in the worst of soils. You can grow in the worst of conditions and in the worst of environments. And so you are always fertile. You're always the vitality, even if you are put in an area and an environment that is not conducive to like a high quality of life. You are that life. Now, right now, the community is getting a message. They're getting a message, and the message is telling them about the condition of the root chakra of this main female, meaning the power. Imagine that somebody wanted to do a temp check. Imagine that somebody wanted to see the power that this main female had. And so they go back to the group and they say, oh, her thermometer is reading at 60. Her thermometer is reading at 70 or 80. Now, when this main female is powered up, she's 100. And when the number drops, she's being depleted. But the group wants the number to drop because that means everything in the base chakra is being poured or leaked or harvested or siphoned to them, right? They wanted to take the promise out of the note. They're getting a message, though. So when they go to take the energy check, when they go to read the thermometer of the main female's power, whoever the messenger is that has to go back to the group goes back to the group and tells them the energy of 9. Yo, we're done. It's over. We're completed. This is it. Why? Because the lights are on. The Ace of Swords. She knows. The truth is out. Everything is exposed. And so right now, that is why this community is learning to be flexible, because they're needing to adjust to the fact that the lights are on. When the lights are on, you can no longer take from the base, from the root. You can no longer draw. I even heard one time about a chakra that is beneath our feet. So there are many chakras beside the 7 that we typically talk about. But beneath your root chakra, there's, I don't know if it was called an earth chakra, but there's another one beneath your feet, and that is the one that they use, right? So it's like you have your feet and then you have your earth. But imagine that there's a space between your feet and earth where energy flows, and that is where they pull from. So it's like they don't even want you to root or ground. They want to take the promise before you get the promise. They never wanted you to get to close to 100. They don't want you to be full power, because when you have full power, that means that you are in control of your own promissory note. That means that you have the power to control your finances, to control your life, to control your career. You have the power power to focus on all of your needs. Now, if the community would have honored what they received and you would have developed, well, then the gift in you would have been a gift that would have provided them with power, control, options, right? And instead, they just want to extract it. But once the lights are on, the process changes. The process changes. Y'all, there's another player to this. They were not stealing it for nothing. They weren't just taking the power for nothing. They were taking it for someone. There is somebody who is coming out as a false person. A false person who emotionally and physically needs healing. And so maybe these no, I can't say that. So I want you to imagine that you have somebody that is divinely chosen, somebody that is full of promise, somebody that has divine power. When they test your root chakra, you are locked and loaded. And they feel like, you know what if we could just pull the power from one being, take all the energy from the promissory note and go put it in a Post-it note. Imagine a Post-it note. Y'all, if you had to sign a contract and somebody gave you a Post-it note, how serious would you be about that contract? So for just a moment, the divine being, the chosen child, is coming up as a promissory note. They wanted to take all the power from the promissory note and they wanted to go put it in a Post-it note. Now, I'm calling it a Post-it note because this is telling me that there was a false person that needed resources and they needed healing. There could have been somebody close, somebody attached to the mature woman that said yes or no, the mature woman that moved in selfishness, the mature woman that moved without integrity and without honor. It seems like she took a leap of faith, but it was because someone close to her who was false, who's coming up as just a Post-it note, meaning there was no divine power. There was no contract that the divine had attached to this false person. And so how do you turn a Post-it note into a promissory note? I don't know, but that's what this reading is looking like. Somebody who needed emotional healing, somebody who needed financial healing, physical healing, but this person is false. You can't make a Post-it note, a promissory note, even if you take the power from one and put it into the next. But this was the plan. This was the plan, to extract power from one and to put it in another that they felt like needed healing. But y'all, the Most High don't miss. The Most High doesn't make a mistake. And you can't undo, you can't change, you can't be God. You can't be God. And now I'm getting the energy of a mature woman with a God complex who is in a position of power, but it's not the power that is connected to the Most High. Because you can't make these decisions. You can't move like this if God is in you. You wouldn't be able to have these thoughts, these plans. You wouldn't be able to come up with things like this if God were in you. It doesn't even cross your mind. Y'all, I didn't learn about this until God turned the lights on in my life. And I would say the lights came on in about 2019. 2019 is when the lights came on. And right now we are in 2025. And so this is when everybody else who was in the gym, who was in the room with me, finally looks up and recognizes that the lights have been on. But I've literally been sitting in the gym with them, watching the lights slowly come on. And it's like they're finally seeing, right? And so there was a false person who was a Post-it note that maybe wanted to be a promissory note. Maybe they wanted power. Maybe they wanted to change their life. They needed resources. But I'm seeing that this false person was ungrateful. It literally says, be grateful for what you want. Be grateful for what you have. Save something for a future. So maybe this is a person that just didn't work or develop themselves, which is why they were only a Post-it note. The reason why they needed healing is because emotionally they had skipped the line. They didn't want to go through the emotional healing. Physically, if you don't control your energy, your body is going to reveal to you the condition of it. meaning you can't carry around sick energy and expect to have a healthy body. You can't carry around sick energy and expect to be a note of promise. And so this is a post-it note that is mad that they're a post-it note. They wanted to be a promissory note, and they felt like, well, if we just get a thief to steal from them, to steal their earth energy, the energy, steal their leadership, steal their hard work, steal their passion, steal their strength, steal their vitality. If we get everything from them that they use to survive, and if we can give it to the false person to survive, well, then we'll be successful. Y'all, this was a robbery, but they stole from God. The light inside a child of promise, that energy belongs to God. You don't think that there's a GPS tracker on light beings? You don't think that there's some kind of silent signal that goes off when people are tampering with them and messing with them energetically? And so the Most High turns the light on, and nobody else knew that the lights were on. And so the chosen one knew, or the chosen one knows. If you're like me right now, you know what happened. This is giving me past. This is giving me past. Y'all, I'm just going to tell it. Fuck it. So I was married, I was separated. In my separation, I moved away from my ex-husband, and I was attempting to grow a new life. Now, why did I think I would be allowed to do that with the family that I was attached to? I don't know. I don't know why I thought they'd let me do it, because they didn't, right? And so at some point, my entire life that I'm attempting to grow after my marriage is just destroyed. And there was really only one place that I could go. Based on my life, I don't have relationships with family. There's only one person that I have really been attached to. And y'all, that's my damn grandmother. In reading, sometimes I have called my grandmother Dusty. I say my dusty grandmother. Let me just tell you why I say that. I say that because when you think about something that collects dust, it's something that hasn't been touched, something that hasn't been moved or used in a long time. When the Most High is not touching you, in my mind, energetically, physically, you're just collecting dust, meaning you haven't had a divine thought. You haven't had a divine mission, a download, a purpose. Like God ain't talked to you for a while, which is why you've been able to collect dust. My grandmother is dusty, and I know that. She spends hours every single day attempting to pray, but it's really ritualistic. Bibliomancy is her form of divination, right? And so this is something that she has committed to, and maybe in her mind she is working with God. Maybe she's thinking that she is. But when I look at her, I see dust. I really see dust. And it doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me feel good. But this is who she is. Nonetheless, because I know that she is dusty and the Most High has not used her in the way that she would like to have been used. Let me say that. Because obviously we're still all moving in the purpose. We're all still unfolding in the plan, right? And the plan is going perfectly. It is perfect. But a lot of times people in the plan, they don't like the role they have to play. And so I think that often my grandmother works to play a role, but she doesn't recognize that just because she consciously wants to play that role, it doesn't mean that the divine has put her in a role. So when I see her dust, I can see that they haven't really talked in a while in the way that she would like to talk. Okay, I'm just going to stop there. So this was the place that I could go to when everything else went apart. And at some point I recognized that the home, my grandmother's home, I'm here now, this almost was to become my prison, meaning this was supposed to be my last stop. I was not supposed to leave here. I was not supposed to get out of here. This was supposed to be the place where I stay so that I could be harvested, sacrificed, pulled from. And I thought I literally got here and I said, I thank you. There's nowhere else I feel like I could have gone once the version of my life that I tried to rebuild after my marriage broke down, like, what do you do then? And if I didn't have kids, I would never have come here, right? And so when you have kids and life falls apart, which it has for me many times, but my ability to come back without children is very different when I have children, okay? And so in my mind, in many ways, my life was over. Like I couldn't visually see how I was going to rebuild it. I just didn't know. Now I was creating those other YouTube channels. Like I was trying to do the things that were natural and normal to me. And the other YouTube channels that I was creating when I first got here, that was more, the channels weren't supposed to grow. I was supposed to grow. Those are the channels where I started to talk. Prior to moving to my grandmother's house, I had started a tarot channel, and I feel like that is what really, y'all, I feel like I could just tell you so much. Maybe I just am. So here's the thing. When I start my tarot channels, one of the ways I know that people are harvesting my energy is because if one person orders a reading from me, but if I notice that the reading has 10, 12, 8, 9, 30, 60 views, I already know, right? And so when I got to my grandmother's house, I had no life left. The life that I was attempting to build outside of my marriage, once divorced, that life was gone. And so the only things I had were the things that I was creating, my creative projects. And one of them was a tarot channel. A family member, the same family member who is coming up in this reading as a false person that needs healing, that family member asked me to give her a personal reading. Okay. Now, up until this point, I had never done personal readings. I had only posted on that channel, but I shared that I was into this. Now, I had already thrown my tarot cards out in 2017 because my grandmother, I explained that to y'all. Like I felt pushed to, I felt convicted. I was shamed. I felt like I had to. Okay. So when I get here, my aunt asked me for a reading. Y'all, do you know that reading got up to 67 views? The woman who was living in the house with me asked me for a personal reading. This is when I first felt like something is off. Something is off. And so the reading got up to 60 something views. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm leaving the reading, but maybe it's relative, okay? And it didn't feel right to me. And so after I saw, because we can see we can see nothing's hidden, right? So, I give you a reading, but I can watch the growth of it, and I can immediately know. So she sends me a text message, and the text message, it said, is a screenshot. And it's essentially, it seems like an ad. She says, hey, this is what I sent out to my friends. And so the text message is like, hey, this is my niece. She's really gifted. This is what she did for me. Watch it. Y'all, at no point in time have I ever agreed to give one person a personal reading and then they share it with other people. Y'all, that's not how it works. I want you to know that even on this channel, Tennille Talks, if you have ordered a reading from me, and if I have seen those numbers increase, I want you to know you're not safe. You weren't safe to do that. That wasn't the agreement. It was a personal reading. It is me tapping into the energy that I am allowed to tap into as a way to help you. And so when I open the door to use a gift that I am being forced to use, y'all, I threw my car. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this. One of the reasons why this is so hard for me to, this is hard for me to do because I've been rejected my entire life, right? I've been rejected my entire life. And so to have a calling that is attached to what people would consider evil, or nobody really wants a calling that people aren't called to support or called to understand. And so I threw all of my cards away in 2017 because I couldn't get over the projections of the outside world. And so then I pick it up again. And I knew this time when I picked them up, I wasn't putting it down. And honestly, my entire physical world blew up in front of me. So I had to pick them up because I had to go within. I had to go within. So anyway, I give my aunt a reading and she tells me, oh, I shared it, But y'all, my spirit knew that was a lie. My spirit knew it was wrong because I didn't agree to it. And so I just felt like I was backdoored. I just felt like, damn. All right, fine. Y'all, months and months and months go by. Almost a year goes by since I gave her this reading. I get a drop in my spirit one night before a full moon. Y'all, it was around midnight. They say, turn the video off. Meaning if I send you a private link to a personal reading at any point, I can make the video, I can kind of deactivate it, meaning I can still have the video, but the link that you had to preview it, I can turn it off so you can't. So on a full moon, they tell me to turn it off. Turn it off. Y'all, I turned it off and within 15 minutes, this is almost a year later. This is almost a year later after me giving her this reading. I turn it off and she texts me. We're in the same house. She texts me and says, hey, they call me Tealy. My name is Tennille. My family, my maternal side calls me Tealy. She says, hey, Tealy, can you turn that reading back on for me or whatever? And I was like, damn. Like I'd already seen in her. I'd already seen things, right? I'd already seen things. But maybe part of me forgot that it was through the reading that she was doing this, okay? So y'all, I'm telling you the same night, and this is full moon. This is full moon. She texted me and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to. I'm sorry, I'm not, because I knew, and this was me starting to stand up. I think they had been doing whatever they had been doing to me, but at some point the lights were on and now I had to start responding to what I knew that they were doing, okay? So the next day, right? So I tell her, oh, that's not true, y'all. That is not true. I did not text her back that night. She asked me to turn the reading on. I didn't tell her by text because at this point, the last thing you want to do is send a text to evil people. You don't want them to have too much information. A lot of the times when I started to switch up my game, I would only verbally communicate with them. I just stopped writing. And so we're in the same house, y'all. We're in the same house. And so I slept on it. And the next day I'm like, all right, I'm going to go talk to her. And I'm like, hey, I know you asked for that reading, but I had already been getting the drop that I just kind of had to totally turn off the channel. I just had to, whatever. I just said I couldn't. And she was like, oh, well, you had mentioned she has an ex-boyfriend from years ago who's no longer living. And apparently his birthday, this is what she tells me, his birthday was coming up. And I mentioned something about a specific date and she just wanted to go back in and hear it. And I was like, oh, okay. Which didn't mean I was turning the shit back on. It just meant, oh, okay, I understand. And I never turned it back on. But y'all, when she asked me on the same night that they told me to disconnect, and she was sitting in her room pitch black on a full moon, y'all. And so what I'm saying is here, y'all, in my face, for the time that I have been here, these people have been moving like this against me. And I want you to know that my aunt is 10 years older than me, and she has 4 children, okay? And I remember when I first got here, I can cook, and they can't. They can't. When I first got here, they were about to make chicken, and she was like, she asked her mom, my grandmother, she was like, can you make chicken? And if I was going to eat it, I knew they couldn't cook it. And so I was like, I'll cook. And so once y'all, I love to cook. Once I started cooking, the kids, everybody wants me to cook all the time, and that's fine. I was cooking 3 times a week. Y'all, so what I'm saying is that when I joined the home, I didn't join the home empty-handed. Like I came with things, I came with creativity, I came with love, like I poured into them. I was cooking for them. At some point, my grandmother and my aunt started to use cooking as a weapon. When the kids didn't do what they want them to do, they would be like, well, we'll just tell her to stop cooking. Or they would tell me to stop cooking or tell me not to clean. You know, the kids have chores. Like, they didn't, any way they could stop me or any way they could use what I offered. They would start to try to capitalize it and use it as a gift, as a weapon against the kids. Like, I noticed that. Y'all, they're not good women. They're not good women. Anyway, I got to get back into the reading. But personally, for me, the lights came on. And, you know, you kind of see things piece by piece. So when people get readings from me, just like this person did, you know. Oh, and that's the thing. Another thing. She sent me 3 people that were all connected to her, and I did readings for them. My first tarot channel, I'd only done 4 readings, and it was for my aunt and 2 people that she was working with and one of their daughters, all adult women. And I remember a lot of the women went on the trip, and she was like, you should send them, you should text them and write them. And I just felt like, how can you market a divine gift? You know, when she sent me the text message that she had sent out the reading to everybody, I felt so naked and exposed. I felt like that is so disgusting. And this is how you will know. This is how you'll know evil. Because a lot of times we don't want to consider it to be evil. You know, it's by the order. It's by the order. Y'all, there is a divine order. You ask, you receive permission, and then you do. Whenever people do, they do it first, and then they tell you that is not divine order because they took your power away. They didn't allow you to say yes. They didn't allow you to say no. So when people are moving against me in the way she did with the private reading I gave her, I knew that it was not in divine order. So there were a lot of things that she was doing to me that were out of divine order. I think her biggest offense I see here in the reading, robbing, a robbery. And so I have false person, robbery, resources, healing, forgiveness. They can't win, 10 of Pentacles, all of that in one spot. And so they were after the 10 of Pentacles. To be a promissory note, to be a child of promise, you are the 10 of Pentacles. You are like a loan. You are an energetic loan from the Most High. And you were put in families that need healing. But the healing that they need is emotional, spiritual, mental, physical. That takes time. The same time it would have took you to unfold in a very natural, healthy, organic way is the same time that it takes to heal. Not everybody wants that time. And so sometimes people just want to steal the power from you in order to use it in their own life. Y'all, this is literally real time in my life. Since I've been here in this home, my aunt has gotten cut from ear to ear, brain surgery. She's gotten cut from the bottom of her breastbone to the top of her pubic. She had a hernia removed. She spent months in the hospital for different things. And so what I'm saying is, whatever she attempted to take from me, she didn't take. And what I have been watching in her life, and it's not just her, she has children, right? What I've been watching is the impact of her choices. But y'all, I don't think that these people were connecting what they did to me and their life unfolding the way it has since I've been here. Now, it's really my grandmother because this is her skill. This is what she does. This is what she does. This is the oath that she has made, and she's dusty. And so whatever oath she has made in her life, she didn't make it with the Most High. And I know this. I know this. But I can't change people. I can't make people do, I can't. All I can do is just be. All I can do is be. And a lot of times I've had to just watch. I've had to watch them attack me day and night, day and night. When I am asleep, my grandmother is awake. She's awake in her book. She's awake on her. She's awake doing her work when I am sleeping. Y'all, there are a lot of things that happen in this house, but what I can say is that my aunt had 4 children. Now, one of them is only 7 years younger than me. I'm 39. He's 8 years younger than me. I'm 39. So I say she has 4, but I'm really only going to consider 3 because 3 of them, when I got here, were still dependent on her in some way. And so what they've done to me in this 2.5 years that I've been here, it doesn't compare to what these children have been through before I got here, right? And so I recognize that maybe I had to endure a little bit since I've been here, but it doesn't compare to what I've seen these children go without, right? Because the type of women that would come up with this plan, what have they been doing in the meantime? Like, like this is in them. This is in them. And so right now I see that this false person, whenever this card comes up, I always attach it to her because I know she's false. I know she's gossips. I know if she hears, I know I'm watched. I know that the entire time I've been here, I've been under surveillance. And they are responsible for communicating to the outside world everything that I'm doing. And anytime I am attacked, it is because they have opened the door for it or because they have followed the ritual. They have followed the skill. They have participated in whatever the instruction was that the sacrifice required them to do. And so right now, they are finally recognizing that they can't win. And what they can't win is the 10 of Pentacles. That is the power. And so, y'all, this is real time. I had no idea that this reading was going to unfold like this. I am going to post it because it is natural, normal, truthful, and organic. Okay. And so attached to the false person is the energy of needing forgiveness and healing for the robbery that they recognize they can't win. If anybody comes to me and apologizes, I'll tell you, but I want you to know that I recognize that if somebody tells me a truth or if somebody apologizes, you are only apologizing to me because you couldn't win. And so somebody that is saying sorry that they failed is not the same as somebody saying, I'm sorry I failed you. You understand? And so I already understand that what they say to me in the event they come back and say, hey, I wish we didn't do this. I wish we didn't make this choice. Forgiveness, compassion, grace is what we offer. It's of course I watched it the entire time. Like I always knew the outcome. And y'all, I was taking hits, knowing where the hits were coming from, not always wanting to embrace and accept it, but like kind of knowing, but like not wanting to know, right? Like not wanting to. But then at some point, the reason why I had to stand on it is because I had to treat them based on the truth that I knew. Me not wanting to know, I was still protecting them. Because if I don't really acknowledge what you're doing, then I don't have to hold you accountable. I don't have to put you under judgment. But y'all, how long do you think I was going to take hits before I was required to be obedient to what I was being shown? And so once I step up and I start to behave and I change how I communicated with them and I started to move different, that is when the judgment started. That is when I said, okay, fine. Because if I'm still walking around and talking to you and laughing and acting like I don't know you're doing this, I'm not allowing the process to be the process. And so I was essentially willing to lie to myself for a period of time because I just didn't want it to be them. I didn't want it to be true. I didn't want this to happen. And so the way that judgment comes in is because now I can't talk to you. Now I'm sorry. I can't tell you about what I'm doing. Now I have to close you out. And once you put up that boundary, y'all, that is when you start to shut off the energy exchange. The power they were taking from you, that comes back to you with the boundary you put up. And then what they endure when they don't have access to you and your energy, it's almost like she had to go back to being a Post-it note. And maybe she thought she was on page 3 of becoming a contract for a promissory note. But it's like, if you're a Post-it note, be a Post-it note and recognize you are a Post-it note because you refused. You refused to heal, to be better, to be bigger. You refuse this. And so to steal something from somebody that didn't run away, right? Like, how do you do, y'all, people do this. But I'm telling you, me coming here, it was not just about what happened to me. This has happened to many. And I'm telling you, she has 4 children. 3 of them are dependent on her. They're not young. I mean, dependent on her, not by age because they shouldn't be, but they've been crippled. They've been crippled. Right? Crippled emotionally, they've been crippled. And so they were crippled to depend on her. But by age, they shouldn't be. They should not be. And so I can't even imagine what happens if I never came here. What would have happened to the trajectory of their lives, you know? And it's crazy because I didn't have children until I was like 33, I think. Those used to be like my children, like every holiday. Like I remember me and my ex-husband, when we were in the dating phase, we used to take them out to eat every Wednesday at a different restaurant. And I did that because when I tried to go out to eat with them one time, I was so embarrassed. I was embarrassed because when they got to the menu, they didn't know what they wanted. Like they couldn't order off of a menu. And I was like, whoa, you know, and so I just made it a thing. Every Wednesday we'll go out to eat. And guess what? My aunt, my grand, they hated me for it. If there was a holiday or Easter, anything, I bought them gifts. I just randomly, because I recognized that they were disadvantaged and that they were lacking and they were going without. Right. And so as long as I lived close when I was married, I poured into them. But then I moved far away in my separation. And then when that life fell apart, I came back. And so this is where we are. This is like literally my life, y'all. And I built Tennille Talks in my grandmother's closet. Her closet, the only way you can get to her clothes closet is by going through her bathroom. And so this is literally where I have built this channel and the other 4 channels that I created. 2 of them I linked in the description box. 2 of them I haven't put out yet because I don't know. One of them, I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. So I don't want them to go out just yet. But y'all, like, this is really my life. And I'm sorry that this reading unfolded this way. But when I tell you this is real time, this is real time. I don't know why a real time message would come like this. Like, I don't know why it would be so in my face. Like this. But I have to honor the message. I kind of do the same thing every time I set up. I pray, I kind of worship, I ask, I bless, and I cover us. And then I ask for something that we can all use. So I don't know if I was just supposed to tell you about me, but I promise you that if this is me, this is also you, because I'm not the only promissory note from the Most High that was seeded into a dark family. Like, a lot of us are carrying a power that people want to heal. They want it to heal their emotions. They want to heal their body. They want to heal their finances, but they don't want to put the work in to do it. And so when they cross paths with you, even if they are your family, they will come up with plots and plans to steal from you. And it's sad. And so maybe some of you are going to be getting I'm sorries. Maybe some people will be asking for forgiveness. But I want you to know it is only because they couldn't win that they are being asked, that they are asking you to forgive them. And so when you forgive them, I think it's important to let them know that you are not forgiving them. Like, what they did is what they did. But listen, I don't have the energy to carry it around what a Post-it note did to me. And I'm a whole promissory note, right? Can you imagine a promissory note with a whole bunch of Post-it notes stuck onto it? That don't even look like a contract anymore, right? And so I am going to take off the Post-it notes that attempted to attach themselves to my energy. And that is the way I forgive, by removing your energy from mine. Because if I don't forgive you, I got to carry you around. And so, yeah, I'm going to give you that energy back. And when I say I forgive you, I release you from what you did to me. I'm not going to hold you accountable for it. But the Most High will, your life will, but I want you to know that I have released you from that. Y'all, I got to get off of this thing. I'm going to post it. I love y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.